how's it going? This is the 400th video, and it's going to be a video about rambling mostly. Just how I feel overall about this goal that I have reached. Well, that was a lie, because the 400th number is just the result of how much effort that I've unexpectedly put into this channel, as well as just making content in general. When I started back in 22, I just pulled the trigger and said, you know what? I want to make a channel. My brother and his wife at the time, they made a channel where they did unboxings and they talked about films because it's something that they both had in common. As for me, I knew about the things that I was interested in, and I had a lot of ideas circling in my head. All kinds of ideas that I put on what I call the clothesline. What is the clothesline idea that I have in my head? Well, to put it in an image form, take an existing clothesline, but it infinitely rotates to many different layers where I can put as many ideas as I want. And these ideas could be for whatever video I decide to come up with. And if I run out of a new idea, I can always roll back to ideas I've had in my head before. So I can just pick out the one that interests me the most, and then if I'm interested enough, I get to work. That's it. And this ensures I always have things to talk about, and nowadays, there are always things to talk about. And to give myself some credit, I never once imagined I would get this far, ever. Because in my past life, I've tried various things that I would have a feigning interest in, and I would have the first couple of weeks of that motivation, you know, when you see something that you want to try, and you give it, you know, a fair go, or at least you think you've given it a fair go, but the moment it gets hard, that's when you lose the motivation, and ultimately you just kind of lose interest, thinking, yeah, no, I was interested in it for a bit, but I kind of lost interest. But you kind of just brush off the fact that you didn't really try hard enough, and I was like that with a lot of things, but with, making a YouTube channel and making videos, it felt somewhat easy for me because I had such a focus on talking about things that genuinely interested me, and I've talked about a lot of things that interested me within the gaming world, and there's still so much more that I want to talk about. But there are also days where I just don't feel like talking, some days where I just want to be left alone, and sometimes I will just put the channel on ice because I feel like I just need to do some things to think and recuperate and just meditate on the future and think, what do I want to do next? And 400 videos later, I have an off-script video of just lots of yapping and rambling about whatever is going on in my head. Like a freestyler going off the dome, but without any of the rhymes that go along with it. That's what this video is kind of like. I mean, I could have talked about a lot of other things. I could have done a massive video just doing nothing but glazing the greatest FromSoft game ever made, Dark Souls 2. But instead, I decided to just think back on my journey in my own mind instead of just writing it like as if I'm reciting a script for a movie scene or something like that. And the thing is that I still don't really know what kind of future is ahead for my channel, or whether I decide to continue doing this or not. Or maybe I might decide, you know what, maybe it's time for a reboot or a fresh channel where I just start over with all of the years of experience and wisdom that I've gathered. Wisdom being, 0.1% wisdom in the grand scheme of things. But nevertheless, I've experienced and have learned much more than in my very first year. And I'm in a position now where I can afford to start over with everything that I've picked up on with a more singular and focused go if that is my desire. But this channel has always just been about talking about things of interest. Now, going back the clock years ago when I first started back in 22, I had, like I said, lots of ideas. I wanted to do like machinimas or just a couple of minute long video talks on specific topics of interest. Like one of my earliest videos I remember talking about was the idea of fantasy consoles, which is the idea of taking an existing retro-like console and then building a digitized equivalent to that, where it's like, hey, what if we had a console that never actually existed, but people could actually develop on the thing and make games for it. The most popular example being the Pico 8, where you can download the app and it functions like its own digital console where you can write code on it, you can create sprites, you can create music, and you can also download other people's games and also read their source code, as well as looking at their assets and their music. It was such a cool idea to me at the time that I couldn't help but talk about it. And the thing is, with a lot of the things I did want to talk about, there was never really a consistency in the subject matter, as in the specific subject matter. Although some videos I would try to go off the gaming spectrum and maybe say talk about a movie or talk about scenes from a movie, or perhaps, even books or manga, for instance. Again, I only did those things once and just kind of realized that I enjoyed talking about games more because there's something that resonated with me and still resonates with me to this day. And not every video from the perspective of, say, views has always been a success, but I've learned a long time ago, and I still get humbled by this lesson each time, that it's a platform that doesn't owe you anything. You can only make the best video that you can make at the time, or you feel that you've made, knowing that there is always opportunity for improvement. And even if you put your heart and soul into it, there is no promise that you will just suddenly blow up. And I've learned this because even some of the biggest content creators have also, have admitted how lucky they have been. And I've always taken that lesson, with the value that it brings into the conversation of, say, creating a channel and looking for success, because there is always going to be that factor of luck in the equation where even if you read all the analytics, even if you follow all the trends, there is always that chance that it may just be for nothing, where you may blow up. Again, I tried not to worry about the analytical approach to just creating content and trying to get big through following trends or whatever. I would just simply talk about whatever I wanted. I felt like that was so much easier for me, and I was genuinely happier doing it, and I still am doing those things. If a video nowadays just doesn't do that well, or doesn't kick off, I don't give a shit, because it's a video that I wanted to make in the first place, and it's not something that I'm doing to try and chase a 5 or 6 digit number. If that was all I wanted, then I would just be following other things that I know that I would get tired of and be more burnt out of, because this is a thing that is 24/7. It's forever. If you're committed to making a channel and you're committed to uploading and getting successful, you're going to be doing it forever. And not only are you going to be doing it forever, but you're going to be doing it all the time. And I decided, fuck that. I will make videos when I feel like making them. If I make a couple a day, if I make a couple a week, or if I make one a week or one a fortnight, so be it. At the end of the day, I have to be wanting to do it and not feeling like I'm forced to do it. And that's the philosophy I've always approached with my channel, and that is something that is not going to change. But aside from that, it's been a hell of a ride doing this, and I'm excited to keep going more, and I'm excited to keep improving and finding new opportunities to, find different approaches with how I approach things in terms of the things that I have interest in talking about. Anyway, that's all I really wanted to talk about. Just a mini semi-reflection on the things that I've done throughout the channel, the things that I've learnt along the way. And what I've learnt along the way is that not every video is going to be 100% satisfactory in terms of how it turns out, or how the video was edited, or how it was made. And that's a good thing, because it shows that there is always growth in terms of how I make and edit and approach video making in general. It's an infinite journey that can also lead to a lot of transferable skills in other parts of life if that's what your pursuit is. Video making is something that has been one of the best decisions that I've made in my life, because it has shown multiple pathways that I could potentially follow if I decided to make that particular skill a focal point in my daily routine. If I wanted to do more 3D modeling or digital drawing or perhaps game dev related stuff, I could jump ship and make that the focus and still decide to make a channel based around that focal point, where say for instance 3D modeling or digital drawing or game dev or whatever, things that I'm interested in doing are things that I want to focus more on, and I can dedicate a channel to that idea. But this channel is just a whatever I want to talk about things that interest me, and that is the ultimate philosophy behind this, is things that interest me. Whether I feel negative about it or positive about it, but I do try to avoid being negative, even in some videos that have been some hot water as of late. Even I don't try to be negative, I just try to be honest, and sometimes, you do end up being both positive and negative, and that's just how it is. But I don't think like, okay, I'm going to dedicate a 15-hour plus video of just talking shit about whatever it is I'm interested in talking about. It's more like I'm going to try to be positive and I'm going to try to be negative and see what the outcome is. And no, I never take time into the equation when it comes to making a video. I just write whatever I've got, edit what I've got, and then upload it. Nothing more. That is as simple as it is with my process. And it's going to be like that for the foreseeable future. So sometimes maybe you'll get a video that's a couple of minutes, sometimes you get something significantly longer, but I never plan it in terms of how long a video should be. It's more like how complex is the subject and how much do I have to say. The end result is just how much I've said and what I've got as a result. So yeah, the journey continues, the videos will continue in one way or another, or if I just decide, you know what, I've reached the end of the road, time to move on to something new. And sometimes in life, maybe that is for the best, or sometimes you just need a reboot, a time to reflect, meditate on the past, the present, and the future. And YouTube, past, present, or future, is still to this day an infinite and useful resource that can either be a massive time waster or a deep well of educational value. And for me, I like to see it as the latter, because I've learned a lot watching videos and trying to take notes from whatever things I've learned. And 400 videos later, I'm still learning, still growing, just like everyone else. The mountain doesn't have an end. It's infinite. And that is YouTube. Just an infinite journey of learning and growing and improving. And that's something that is also reflective of life, where we're always learning something new every day. YouTube is just a digital extension of that realization. At least that's how I see it. Anyways, expect to see new videos of whatever I want to talk about. I don't schedule shit. I just have ideas in my head and I talk about it. Nothing more. As I've already said a million times in a million different ways. Anyway, that's enough yapping from me. I'm gonna go and plan something and then just write about whatever I feel like writing. So look forward to that. And also look forward to perhaps some more Dark Souls 2 footage for you Dark Souls 2 lovers and haters. Especially the haters, because I know that they absolutely love watching Dark Souls 2. Thanks for watching.